my name is Carson, and I will be presenting on how retractions with reminders of fake news can enhance memory and beliefs for verified facts. Our research revolves around fake news, which refers to fabricated news content presented as factual. Research has shown that once misinformation has been encoded, it can be difficult to diminish its effects, and this persistent effect of misinformation is referred to as the continued influence effect. Repetitions can increase belief in misinformation, which can be explained by the familiarity backfire effect. Studies of this effect have shown that increasing misinformation familiarity leads to misattributions of fluency when the context can't be recollected. However, the familiarity backfire effect has not always been observed. This inconsistency suggests that retractions might still be useful in mitigating fake news effects. Repeating outdated information can be useful in the detection of conflicts across memories, which is necessary to update memory events. Ecker et al. Tested these predictions of the familiarity backfire effect and the conflict detection accounts, to which they revealed that retractions, when paired with misinformation reminders, reduced reliance on the misinformation. A related framework is the Memory for Change framework, which proposes that when new events trigger reminding of related events, both events and their relationship can be encoded together. This suggests that the Memory for Change framework might be useful in explaining why retractions are more effective at counteracting the continued influence effect when paired with misinformation reminders. This research goes across two. For our research, we had two experiments. Both were similar in method, but for both we only used real-world fake news content. Each study had three phases. Phase 1, which was the study phase, participants were told that some statements would be false statements and some statements would be correct statements. Phase 2, which participants were told that all false statements would be corrected, and they would only see correct statements in this phase. And then finally the test phase. We had 4 different statement types. There was the repetition, which said the same statement across phase 1 and phase 2. There was the control items, which had no statement phase 1 and a statement phase 2. There were the retraction items, which had a misinformation statement phase 1, a corrected statement phase 2, then test, and the retractions with reminders statement, which in phase 1 had a misinformation statement, phase 2 had a reminder, which was immediately retracted, and then test. Experiment 1 misinformation was recalled at test, and then belief was also gauged at test, versus experiment 2, in which we had participants report based off of their belief in the statement. Here in experiment 1, you can see that participants recalled more correct statements when they had the retractions with reminders versus the retractions alone. They also experienced less misinformation intrusion, so they recalled less misinformation statements when they had retractions with reminders. For beliefs, their beliefs were also not as strong for misinformation statements, the statements that they got incorrect, whenever they had retractions with reminders versus the retractions alone. Looking at experiment 2, you can see that we replicated these results fairly well. Yet again, performing better in fact recall with the retractions with reminders and experiencing less misinformation intrusions. Through this research, we found that retractions with reminders enhanced memory and belief accuracy more so than retractions alone, in part by increasing memory before misinformation and retractions. Reminders increased misinformation recollection, reducing reliance on misinformation, suggesting that recollection-based retrieval plays a role in reminder effects, that being the memory for change paradigm potentially. And these results suggest that misinformation reminders can be an effective tool for updating memory and beliefs for actual news content when people can recall said retractions.